The Prime Minister pledging to restore safety to the streets of New Providence following Friday's Fox Hill attack, plus an update on the investigation. A preview of the New Year's Day Junkanoo parade.
We going for two. We want it, or we can get it.
A Bahamian legend passes away.
Now I'm cutting all the sails for the regatta boats.
Plus, another charity needs your help this holiday season.
So we depend heavily on donations, no matter what size.
I'm Nakia DeVoe, and this is NB12 Weekend. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us here at Cable 12 Studios. Here are the stories coming out of the NB12 newsroom this Sunday evening. The Prime Minister speaking out for the first time since the murder of 4 people at Fox Hill Friday night. In a statement released today, Prime Minister Perry Christie says the time has come to escalate the war on crime. Christina McNeil has the details on the government's next step in this report. In the wake of the murders of 4 people in Fox Hill, the Prime Minister pledging to beat back and bury the scourge of crime in the country. That, he says, will begin tomorrow when he meets with the Commissioner of Police and Cabinet Ministers to devise a new course of action in the war against crime. Christie expressing his deepest condolences to the families of those affected by Friday's bloodbath and all who have fallen victim to senseless violence in the country. Christie says government is taking the lead to combat crime in an effort to restore peace and security to New Providence as soon as possible. He says nothing is more fundamental. When Cabinet meets tomorrow, Christie says members will agree on a course of action against crime. The details of those measures to battle and defeat crime will be released at a later date. Tomorrow's cabinet meeting was initially scheduled to formalize the deal government has made with cable and wireless communications. However, the Prime Minister determined that nothing should distract the country's leaders from the war on crime at this time. The formalization of the new deal with cable and wireless is now set for January. Minister of National Security Dr. Bernard Nottage yesterday alluding to the need to re-strategize as he briefed reporters on the events leading to the arrest of 60 suspects in the Fox Hill matter.
The truth of the matter is that there are matters which have been planned and which are being implemented. Some of them work quickly, some of them take a longer period to work. Our job is to continue until we find the formula that will work continuously. And that is what we are doing. It's all well and good to talk about the events that are happening, but what you are not aware of is things that have been prevented by those same measures.
Nottage indicating that government will do what is necessary to restore peace in the country.
We will use methods, severe methods if necessary, to achieve the kind of peaceful and safe communities that we are seeking.
Meanwhile, Assistant Commissioner of Police Anthony Ferguson has confirmed that all 60 people arrested for questioning in connection to Friday's murders are still in custody. Those individuals who were injured in the shooting are also said to still be in stable condition in hospital. Tonight, church leaders are scheduled to assemble near the scene of the violent attacks for a community meeting and service in memory of those who lost their lives Friday night. Reporting for NB12, I'm Christina McNeil. Police have arrested a Smiths Lane Andros resident in connection with the disappearance of immigration officer Sean Gardiner and his friend Tishka Brainin, who were reported missing over a month ago. Officers from the Firearms Tracing and Investigations Unit arrested the 24-year-old man on Saturday in Cumberbatch Alley around 9 a.m., according to police. Last week Saturday, police discovered human skeletal remains deep in the bushes of central Andros. However, police were careful not to speculate on whether the remains were those of Gardner or Brainin.
Assistant Commissioner of Police Anthony Ferguson said the skeletal remains were found in 2 separate locations within close proximity. Now, due to the state of decomposition, police were unable to determine at the time whether the remains were that of 1 or 2 people. Well, when contacted today, Ferguson said a preliminary assessment suggests the remains are that of 2 people, but the DNA results would confirm that. He said police sent the remains away for testing last week and expect a quick turnaround. The pair was reported missing on November 25th. With the murder count so far for 2013 surpassing that of 2012, a community leader says the country has dug itself into a crime crisis. Executive Director of Bahamas Against Crime, Reverend C.B. Moss, says national security officials and members of the police force are still shooting in the dark, searching for a solution to the crime problem. But he says members of the public ought to be wary of what is and is not reported by police.
We have been saying this for years. This nation must come to the realization that we are in the midst of a very serious crime crisis. Not manifested only by the number of homicides and other crimes that are reported, but by the amount of crime that really is not being reported. Firstly, to the authorities, and secondly, by the authorities to the public for various reasons. It is alarming.
Moss says crime statistics are difficult to come by, and when they are released, questions still will rise. For instance, Moss says there are several incidents which have been left unclassified, which he believes ought to have been named homicides. Moss used the example of a man who was fatally stabbed multiple times back in July at his home. A suspect was arrested in connection to the incident. However, police left the matter as unclassified.
According to our records again, there are a number of deaths that have not yet been classified, but using the criteria that I saw being used over the years, we think there are at least 4 others that could be classified as homicides. As far as we are informed through the public media, this incident is unclassified. I mean, why is it that a person who's been chopped several times, he didn't chop himself, and it was not an accident, according to the description in the media, it is as clear a case of homicide as I could see it. But to the best of our knowledge, that particular death is still unclassified, and that is creating confusion.
Moss issued a call for increased accessibility to crime statistics and more accountability in regard to how incidents are classified.
These figures are not as accessible as I think they should be. We would call and they would send us to this department or to this individual. We'd call there and they would send us somewhere else, or they'd promise to get back. I don't know if they have not compiled the figures. Perhaps the statistics are so overwhelming, it's getting ahead of their ability to maintain them. But whatever it is, we think that the statistics should be placed in the public domain as quickly as possible.
Commissioner of Police Ellison Greenslade last week told reporters that the most recent crime statistics would be released shortly. Well, on to other news now. Junkanoo groups rushed right off Bay Street Boxing Day and right back into the shacks to prepare for the New Year's Day showdown, which is just days away. NB12 visited many of the shacks that are bustling with activity to see what the groups have in store for the new year. Tonight, here's our first preview of a few of the groups.
And we expect to win again. I mean, you know, we're the champions for 2013, and so we expect to continue in the trend on the New Year's Day.
The Saxon Superstars are the defending champions, and you heard for yourself that Saxon's leader Percy Vola Francis expects to keep that title. We paid a visit to Mason's Edition to see what the group has up their sleeve for the theme Unleash the Spirit of Carnival. Saxon's members were busy drawing, cutting, and painting, knocking out the last few pieces.
So you expect to have a little touch of everything. A little touch of Junkanoo, a little touch of Mardi Gras, a little touch of carnivals in Trinidad, in Brazil, and so on. Carnivals around the world, festivities around the world. We're going to bring all of those together and bring the spirit of Carnival. We want to unleash a spirit, a new spirit of Carnival to the Bahamas, unlike any other part of the world.
Well, the Saxons are coming out first again this week, but even after a shaky start and a second-place finish in the Boxing Day parade, Vola says they're not worried about being first out of the gate again.
You know, we're first out, and we're going to be there early, and we're going to try to demonstrate that it doesn't matter what number you pick. You could always win from any position. It doesn't matter.
Then it was off to Claridge Road to pay the Valley Boys a visit. Deputy Chairman Jason Minnis said while spirits are high due to the Boxing Day win, there is no time to celebrate, and the Junkanooers went right back to work. He says Valley fans can expect 2 straight.
We going for 2. We want it, and we can get it. Them other fellas them who borrowed that from us last year, we ain't got to worry about them. Let them know we come in, and we come in. And when we line up, I know they can be watching. They can see exactly what we're talking about.
The Valley Boys brought China to the Bahamas on Thursday. This week, Minnis says the crowd will see the United States of America like they've never seen it before. The group promises to bring Vegas to Bay Street in a big way, but that's just a taste of it.
You're going to have a presentation from Lincoln to Obama, the American Dream. You're going to have a presentation, obviously, with Uncle Sam. You're looking at the different states, Alaska, Hawaii, California, Florida. We're all over.
And falling just days after the Boxing Day parade, New Year's is traditionally a parade with less emphasis on big costumes and more on performance. But Minnis said the group did not hold back on anything for next year's parade.
We're going to do a lot of costuming, and we're going to do a lot of rushing. And so, you know, we were a little disappointed with the music results, and I'm almost certain that our back line is going to pick it up. And we're hoping that come this parade, we will not lose 1 category.
Over in Fox Hill, B Group, the original Congos, is preparing for a very special rush this New Year's Day. While other groups like the Saxons and the Valley Boys have their sights set on winning their category, the Congos will be rushing to commemorate their members who were slain during Friday night's attack on Fox Hill Park. Drummer Claudino Davis and free dancer Shanique Sands died in hospital from multiple gunshot wounds. The group also hopes to lift the spirits of all those affected by the tragedy.
And we would like to be able to demonstrate our love to those not only who have passed, but those who are recovering, those who are shaken. And we want all the people in the community that wants to stand and rush with us on that day to just come on in. There's work to be done because it's New Year's.
Deputy Chairman Ruben Ramming discussed plans with fellow group members yesterday. They plan to have a marshal carry Davis's drum in his spot on the drum line and Sands' costume down Bay Street along with their pictures. Ramming said with last-minute changes, the group will need all the help it can get to make it to Bay Street Wednesday morning.
If there are people from other groups who would like to come and help us get prepared, because we only have a few days so we can walk Bay Street and show that respect, we're open to that. We're open to that. There are things that we need to do as a group to step things up a bit better. We're open to that. We'll take whatever help that comes.
The New Year's Day parade begins at 2:01 Wednesday morning. Tickets are available at JunkanoTix.com. That's JunkanoTix.com. Well, Junkanoo groups in the B category have finally received word on who won that division after Thursday's parade. The results for that category have been released after a 3-day delay. Colors Junkanoo Group pulled off the win with 81.41 points. Redland Soldiers placed second with 66.1 points, followed by Conquerors for Christ with 62.96 points. The original Congos came in at 4th position with 67.32 points, followed by Fancy Dancers with 64.21 points. And 6th place went to Body of Christ with 58.63 points. Now, according to Chairman of the Parade Management Committee, Douglas Hanna, accountants were still crunching numbers up to Saturday evening. The results for the B and D categories were expected to be released Thursday evening at Arawak Key, but were delayed due to some challenges with the new judging system, Hanna said. Only the A and C categories were revealed Thursday night. Well, still to come on NB12, a sports and entertainment legend dies.
I have one of my grandsons who is very interested in this.
Stay tuned, NB12 will be right back.